Everybody, welcome back to Final Resonance TV and episode number 2 of my new podcast called Welcome to Rockville, where we talk about new artist releases and touring and gear, of course. I have an amazing guest for you today for number 2. My guest from number 34 of Van Halen Stories is back with me today to talk about his new album. This is George Lynch is back to talk about Dancing with the Devil. And if anybody should be dancing with the devil, it should be George Lynch for all the flat 5 riffs he's played since the very beginning.
The forbidden interval.
Right. So how did you get into that? Was it Sabbath or something that was early on that got you into that sound?
It was a combination of, I would say if I had to think about it, that Sabbath probably was the first musical influence that I heard or one of the first that implied that change.
Right.
By the nature of their music, and they do a lot of that. But also it was me just searching around for the notes in between, trying to find unorthodox note combinations to play.
Yeah.
Rather than see what happens when you get in bed with the devil. You get all the fame and fortune for decades, right? And all the money and the chicks and all the adulation, and then you get old like I am now, and you start getting.
He starts to get you. Starts
turning the screw.
So when you think about the flat 5 riffs that you've done, like you actually put it in a pop context, which was really wild. Back in the Dokken days, say under lock and key, some of those songs you were using that within a pop song, which was really different.
Well, chicks dig flat 5s.
Of course they do. It's awesome.
I'm not denying that.
So you got a new album out, Dancing with the Devil. You're going to come to my area, actually just about an hour above me in Chattanooga, Tennessee, at Songbirds on January 11th with Rise of the Decades, which features one of my Alabama buddies, Brett Carslisle, which is the singer from Great White now.
It's great.
Yeah, and All or Nothing. And then, this Rise of the Decades, I saw this a few years ago when you did it with them in Birmingham, Alabama. That's the last time I saw you live. It's kind of a cool show. Just tell people what it is.
It's complicated. Sometimes I'm out there and I don't even know what it is. And
right.
The only guy that seems to understand what it is the promoter. He's got a concept. But I would say that, as the name implies, it's sampling of the different eras and decades in rock music. But it isn't really that. It's really more of an 80s tribute thing, mm-hmm. with a rotating set of characters, and basically singers that come through, and a few other musicians, drummers and bass players change out as well during the show. But there's a lot of singers coming through, man. I mean, every song there's another guy coming up, it seems like, sometimes, depending on the night.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because the picture keeps changing when you're on stage, and you get these different voices and different chemistry and different songs from different bands. So and I'll tell you personally, one thing you want to do is never take advice from George Lynch, because you'll get the exact wrong advice. But in my opinion, I think, well, that doesn't sound great. But every show we've done has gone over like gangbusters.
Yeah.
They've all sold really well. The audience loves it. I am like, it's one of those things, and I have a lot of those things happen to me in my life over the course of the decades, that I have wondered about my own opinion about things, because I'm like, well, things that I don't think necessarily work out fantastic, and things I think are fantastic don't work out. So, for some reason, this thing has just kind of got a spark to it, and it's really working. Otherwise, this wouldn't be my 3rd or 4th tour with these guys,
Yeah, I was gonna say that's sort of like the classic artist thing, though. You think about some of those songs that have been nearly turned down, and then turned out to be gigantic hits. By the artist. It's
like, oh shit, now we got to play this fucking song for the next 50 years.
Right, the one they hated.
Careful what you wish for.
Right, exactly. So this new album, the first song when I listened to it, it reminded me of "Dance with the Dogs" from Lynch Mob's album. That open thing you do where you play the open notes on top of the chord changes that you do. That's sort of a different thing that you do. Where did you come up with that kind of, like, even in The Hunter, when you play that lick out of the beginning of that song where you've got sort of an open chord mixed in with a chord? Where did you come up with that sort of thing?
Well, I didn't come up with that, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'll take credit for it.
Go ahead.
It's a G chord, so G on a guitar is obviously has an affinity for open strings, so you have all that flexibility.
Right.
So you have the flexibility of obviously keeping most of those strings open except for the third fret on either E string.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it's wild country,
Yeah, so you just thought of it like, to give that the thickness or the depth of it.
I'm a huge fan of open notes. I use them randomly.
Yeah.
Not scientifically. I in every context of my playing, because when I was growing up and I didn't know how to fret the guitar, when I first got a guitar and I was trying to figure out how to operate this thing, I had no idea what picking, what chords, anything. I was like, no teacher, no lessons, nothing. No books. Okay, how do I make this thing make sounds? And that's the first thing I did was I found a way to play a melody by hitting an open string and playing a corresponding melody on an adjacent string.
Okay.
And basically, a lot of my open string stuff now is just that, whether it's soloing, chording, playing partials against open strings to create song compositions, parts. I just think, to me, it's another tool in my tool belt.
When I think back about when I first heard you, your use of pinch harmonics, the thing where you scrape and you tap at the same time on the string, that thing you do it in the, we do it in one of your songs on this one, Pictures of the Dead. You start out with that, the tapping.
Yeah, it might be the palm hammer-on pull-off thing you're talking about. You go down it almost reverses the neck harmonically.
Right.
Hearing all these subharmonics kind of emerge and collide and go in different directions. And
when you do pick harmonics, or when you do pinch harmonics, I should say, that was you were far before Zakk Wylde, but I thought you used it in a different, way, more on high strings, and used it more than anybody that I heard at the time. I know Eddie did it a little bit, but I heard it more from you, in part with more of your style.
I heard it more from Billy Gibbons.
Right.
In LaGrange.
Yeah, okay. I got you.
Where he hung on that one.
Right, and hit it over and over.
For like 64 bars.
Right.
He owns that technique. But I would say all these little kind of tricky things that we do as guitar players, I think we just do it just to avoid having to play any real guitar music, which is hard. It's like, flashing the keys in front of the baby, Pay no attention to the encyclopedias over there. Look at these shiny keys.
Well, yeah, it became such an integral, I think about Night by Night. I love that song in particular, but the harmonics you use through that, and then the tone of that particular song. Let me ask you this about the new record, Machine Bone, right? You're using 800s now, or what are you doing?
Yeah, Machine Bone is my favorite song on the record, and we might do that one live. Yeah. I am using 800s. Yeah, first, second year 800s, 100 watts. I like 50 watts as well, maybe even more. But I do. I have Gower Friedman mods in both of them.
Okay.
And then I have the Gower transparent loop, and that's where I run my delay. And then the other ticket on that amp is the Lynch module.
Right. With David's thing, yeah.
Really does glue everything together like magic with that thing. It's insane. So I tour with 2 of those heads, and then I tour with a couple backup modules just in case, because during transport, I've got them all tied in there, zip tied and screwed in and everything, bolted to the chassis, but you never know with the airlines. So my worst nightmare is to show up well, it's not my worst nightmare. There are other worse things possibly could happen. But, showing up at a gig and having your amp busted by the airline or something during transport, and on a Sunday or Saturday, and, you're in an unfamiliar town and you don't really have a tech that can, you text them, repair tube amplifiers on the road usually, unless it's just a tube thing.
Right.
Which a lot of times it is. But if you have a cold solder joint break or something, like that, that's pretty tough to fix before the show. So I tour with a backup, and I tour backup modules.
Right.
Because those are kind of, you plug those into the V2 socket and it just glues everything together, and you can bypass them. So you're basically bypassing the mod, it's wonderful.
I did a video on those on my 800. I have a 50 watt 800 and sounded killer. And those have like a bass, like a resonance thing, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
It's been a while since I did it, but you use it out though. You don't use it in with the bass part, do you?
I don't use the bass on it, no. Because it loses a little articulation, when you add any bass in. I mean, it already has enough of this, the low mids that you want to make sound big. It's captured with the mic and fills up the room, and but too much starts to get woofy.
Tell me about the record. Who engineered this? Who and where did you do it at?
Dancing with the Devil. I think I did that here in Taos, New Mexico.
Okay.
Yes, I did it here in Taos, New Mexico, in Dennis Weaver's old home.
Okay.
It's an old double adobe built 400 years ago. It's one of the oldest buildings in northern New Mexico, or Taos anyways.
Uh-huh.
It's across from St. Francisco's church. And it got converted to a theater. It's called the El Cortez Theater in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So the seats are still there. The stage is there. The neon sign. All Dennis's artwork, all his film editing equipment, projectors, lights, barrels of film edited from his movies where you could lift him up to light and see him. All these edited piece of film that he was working on.
Wow.
He put a lot of his stuff in Taos.
Mm-hmm.
Using those buildings. In fact, there's movies that he made where he's in that building and outside that building and all around. So I love watching his films for that reason. But anyway, so we filmed in this place and, recorded Dancing with the Devil there. Yeah, I mean, I recorded my parts. I wrote the songs there and recorded the guitars there, kind of arranged everything, got everything prepared, and then I sent everything out to everybody else individually, as a lot of us do records that way now, just for economic reasons, financial reasons, just because it's, more cost effective.
Sure.
And everybody records in their respective places because we all live in different states and that. So it's sort of hard together to do an album. And then it was all mixed by Chris Collier, who did The Wizard, who we worked with in many records, many Lynch Mob records.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gone on to do wonderful, wonderful things. He's extremely, extremely talented. We don't deserve him, but he's a great presence on this record, and we appreciate it so much. We love him. And he did an amazing job.
Yeah, production was great, man.
Mixing it, he gets jealous of me because he's an amazing musician. He played drums in Lynch Mob for
okay.
a period of time. Unbelievable singer. He's doing a lot of the backup work on there, I believe, and guiding Gabriel with a lot of the vocal parts.
Yeah,
really talented guy. He's a great guitar player. He's a huge Meshuggah fan. He can play Meshuggah stuff just like note for note. Like Bleed and things like that, just on drums and guitar, all those triplets and everything. And engineer. He's the whole package. The guy basically is a one-man band, and he's good at everything. So, boy, he better send me a fat check after this interview, huh?
Right. You just reminded me of something I want to talk to you about. Just something funny that's different. Your daughter Mariah, because I was thinking of Richie Faulkner, and I thought of your daughter. When you were at NAMM one year back in 91 or something like that, I was at the booth. I used to work with ESP and Baker and Matt. And back then you had your daughter with you, and she had a Baby Scary jacket on. Do you remember this jacket, this little leather jacket you had?
Yeah, we had that made for my daughter.
Yeah.
Lynch, when Wicked Sensation came out, we had jackets, those jackets made for the band, obviously, and then all our, close family members and everything like that, our wives, and we had one made for little baby Mariah, and then that got passed on to her daughter.
Right. So check this out. While I'm at NAMM and you're there, I videotaped her jacket, the back of her jacket at this NAMM show. And then somehow I ran across her on Instagram and I sent her a photo or the video of her when she was like, whatever, I don't know, man. She was a baby. And she said she still had it. And then I ran into her at a Judas Priest show about 2 years ago. And I introduced myself. This is after you'd been on once already, and told her that you'd been on and that I was the person that sent her the video of her as a baby. She remembered that. It was pretty cool.
Thank you, man. That was so sweet.
Well, it was it was so strange, but back then I was always hanging around the booth with them, and I just happened to be there and had that video of that cute jacket and sent it to her. I thought it was kind of a cool memory.
Those are the moments that matter in life.
Right on. And it's great that you have a great guitar player as a son-in-law.
Oh God. Yeah. How crazy is that? Yeah, we get to riff on guitars and cars and gear all day long, and it's just beautiful. And it's just like it's a very, so wonderful. He's a wonderful person, wonderful dad, wonderful father, and just an amazing person. And keep trying to find something wrong with him. You know what I mean? I was like poking the thread. That's pretty much perfect.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy. I've met him once or twice, but just briefly. But he seemed like a super guy.
He's a natural too, because I've run into in my life, sat down and been exposed to, a number of these guys that come through your life that just apart from everything else about him, just his playing, his hands and his mind, and it's just this. He has this natural thing about him that I've seen in other players. I don't really know the word for it. There should be a word for it. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like a timeless kind of thing. That's a maturity and a sort of a confidence that is just there. That I don't have that. I've never had that. I have to work for it and play dumb little tricks and that you were mentioning earlier and do goofy things with the bar. Or, hey, look over here. Look over here. But these guys, it's the meat and potatoes, but it's just, in the early days, it was very like a Clapton-esque style. One of my first really meaningful guitar teacher, Jim Spider Taylor, had that style and reminded me. Richie reminded me of having that. There's other guys that what was another guy I played with briefly? So he worked with Chaka Khan for many years.
Okay. That sounds like something familiar.
He played in a band called Stray Dog. Okay,
I've heard of that.
Which was signed by, he was signed up to a label. It was Emerson, Lake and Palmer's label. Mm-hmm. And his name's on the very tip of my tongue. And now he's huge in television scoring. He's like the king of that. In that world, he's like the king. So he's done extremely, extremely well for himself. Snuffy Walden, that's his name. Weird band with him. We were all paid to play in this Hollywood band many years ago called Gorilla. And but Kenny Aronson on bass. It was Snuffy Walden on guitar. Me on guitar. Had this guy Ralph. I never learned his last name, but he was like 30-inch bass drum Bonham guy. It was just insane.
Wow,
insane band, and it was great. I was playing in the band to get free rehearsal time for my band, The Boys, at the time.
Okay.
And that was my compensation. But anyways, I play alongside Snuffy, and Snuffy, like Richie and like Jim Taylor, this just like I was a kid and they were grown-ups, stylistically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much maturity and so much in just one note, and just the maturity of their vibrato and just their grasp, the way they held the notes and everything. It was just beautiful. And I've always sort of tried to attain that, and I just never could. But it's an elusive thing I think you really have to be born with.
Well, let me ask you about a couple of guys from that area, that era. Kilgore, we talked about Terry Kilgore before, but Jimmy Bates. Did you ever have much exposure to Jimmy Bates? Stormer?
Yeah, I mean, we played shows together and seeing, we're all playing the same circuit. We're all from the same town. So, everybody invariably runs into each other and sees each other play all the time. But I didn't hang out with Jimmy.
Did you know him as a player? Did you get to see him play much?
Oh, yeah.
What did you think of him? A lot of people talk about him. I don't know whether.
He was left-handed, right?
Yes, he was. And he played a megazone sometimes, left-handed.
Megazone.
Yeah, man.
Not the most practical instrument. Yeah, top hat.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it could be with top hat. Yeah, I'm just saying he was not my guy.
Okay.
People really liked him. For me, it was. I just remember that was my impression of him. I don't actually remember his playing.
Right.
Like I do Terry Kilgore's playing. Now that still affects me to this day, and I still go back and reference Terry and listen to his stuff for inspiration.
Have you seen this new video of Lynch Mob in '92 with board audio that's out there popping around? I just saw it.
No.
It's a Robert Mason era. It's board audio. It looks like a video that you guys set up to shoot with board audio. Sounds great. Amazing.
Oh, good. That's all I care about. It sounds good.
It sounds killer. And in this video, you're playing that REH orange ESP that you played back then. Whatever happened to that guitar?
It got stolen.
Oh, shit.
And I was alerted to anonymously of where the guitar was and who had it. And this was it was a long trail. It was
wow.
I had to become a sleuth to figure this out. But this person that ended up with it had called ESP and said they had this guitar, which they thought was my guitar, or the one that I used, the REH guitar that I used on Wicked Sensation and toured with and so forth. And it was my hands down favorite and best sounding and playing guitar. ESP guitar. I used it. Most of the Wicked Sensation record was done with that guitar,
right,
as well as the instructional video. So I had my tech take it into a local shop called I can't remember the name. It's somewhere in South Bay in Redondo Beach, California, and it was where we used to rehearse. And the guy's name was Jim Foote. Music Works, it was called. And us and Rat and Great White and all these other bands would practice there because we all lived down there. And Jim would take care of all our instruments and repair them and all that stuff. So I had my tech at the time. We were about ready to go on a big tour. We just finished a record, and the guitar had some problems. So I asked him to take it down to Jim's and drop it off. Well, that tech rotated out, and I got a new tech, and I had forgotten about that he had taken the guitar down there, and didn't remember it for years and years and years. And I just would I'd be like, where is that guitar? And I had so many guitars. I'd be in my lockers and here and studio and home and everything. I just think it's got to be in a case somewhere, I'm thinking. So eventually this guy that owns it calls, or has had possession of it, calls the president of ESP, who's my best friend and also was my tech for like 10 years in the heyday of Dokken days and everything. And godfather to my oldest daughter and all these sorts of things. So we have this long history and we're still friends to this day. And so this person calls Matt and says, hey, I've got this guitar. Matt has him take the neck off, check the serial number and everything, make sure it's right. And says, yeah, that's George's guitar. And Matt calls me and says, hey, this guy, did you sell it or something? I go, no. I'm trying to figure out what happened to it. And so I get the guy's number from Matt, and I call the guy, and the guy's freaking out. He's like, on one hand, he's obviously a fan. On the other hand, he doesn't want to give up the guitar. So can I ask you how this all happened? And he told me the story that he went to Music Works, and Jim Foote was sold him my guitar.
Oh, wow.
And he said okay, apparently he did this with quite a few people.
Oh.
Very underhanded. So So I go, okay, well, listen, I will do anything to get it back because I'd really love to have it back, and I'll make you whole, whatever it is. And the guy was just all of a sudden completely clammed up on me, said he bought it cash from some guy in Europe, some trade show in Pasadena, which they don't have trade shows in Pasadena. It was all bullshit. So, and the guy obviously was lying, and then he just hung up on me and he wouldn't answer a call after that. So that was the end of that trail. So then I go back to Jim Foote. I say, hey, Jim, what's the deal here with this guitar? He goes, well, you left it over 30 days. There's a sign there. I go, wait a minute, what? Dude, I'm on the road. I'm in the studio. I got 100 guitars. I trusted you. I'm right down the road. You call ESP, you call me and say, hey, you left your guitar here. I'll pay extra storage fee, whatever. But you sell my guitar?
Oh, God.
You fucker. And
wow.
He to this day defends that action. Like he was within his rights and he didn't do anything wrong. I'm like, and that almost hurt me more than selling my guitar. I just couldn't believe that a person would just sit there and rationalize it to themselves over and over again like that. It was because for me as a guitar player, like guitar thieves are the worst.
Right.
I mean, we've all experienced having our tools and our gear that we love stolen. The magic thing that interfaces between our hearts and our head and the listening, appreciating audience. It's an important thing. On so many levels of just a physical tool and a spiritual connection you have with an instrument. And I had that with that guitar, and he sold it to this guy for like $1,200 or so, just so he stuffed a little bit of money in his pocket. I would have paid him that 10 times over to give it back to me.
Yeah, it was a beautiful guitar,
and it'll never come back to me. I mean, I hope it does.
It could. You got Frampton got his guitar back, and it fell out of went out of an airplane.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So it's gear thieves, man. They're the worst. And they're usually the people that They're usually people that you work with, or your friends, that kind of thing, or people close to them that have access. And I've lost so much stuff that way. And I think the rationale that people have is this guy has more than he needs, and I don't have enough, so it's fair that I take. They're kind of self-Robin Hooding,
Right.
Just a matter of numbers, okay, but it's not. It's something very, very critical, important, and you have this like loving spiritual connection with this instrument. That's different. It's historically significant, means a big, it's important in your life and lives of all your fans and listeners. That's obscene to me that somebody would do that. That's just insane.
That's crazy. How did you get the guitar? Was it one they just specially made for you or what?
Yeah, we designed it, and Japan made it at the Japanese custom shop for me, and it was magic.
Yeah, because it had single coils and all that, and two, you had his humble
ones made that were supposedly exact specs, everything didn't have the magic. That's just the way it goes. And those pickups, as you mentioned, those single coil stacks or whatever they are, those are not made anymore. I bought the last quantity of those. I don't even know what they are. They're some kind of they're an ESP pickup. They had the tendency to delaminate, and they have, over time and things like that. ESP stopped using them, so I just bought out the pickups they have left. And I tend to sometimes we'll offer those as options in a guitar that I'll make for somebody. Through Jerry Guitars, I'll use that as a special neck pickup, here and there, occasion.
I saw a video of you playing, there's the video that's been around forever, I guess, but the 82 Beat Club video from Germany when you first go over there. And you have this guitar, it's like a Charvel that's a bomber type graphic. Do you remember this thing? It was a Strat, but do you remember that guitar? Yeah,
I have a reproduction of it.
Okay, I thought I saw that in some other video of maybe in your studio or something.
Yeah, it's at my home here in New Mexico. Yeah, I play it all the time. It's awesome. So we made the new one last year. Irv Each, my friend, and my guitar tech John Thayer had it made. They put their heads together and had it made for me.
That's cool.
Along with Ed Lang, the guy who works at my shop in California, and they gifted it to me for my birthday.
I got. You know what? I got something for you that I want to show you that you might remember. This is something I've had forever.
Right.
Do you remember this picture?
ESP Seymour Duncan ad.
That's actually just an ESP ad. It was like a
Yeah.
store ad that Mark Wise took the photo of you.
Right. Right. I thought, God dang, man, I'm so tired of just doing that same picture where we stand in front of a backdrop and, I pout my lips and put on some makeup and, pose. Let me do something. So we came up with all these, I came up with all these like little elements, throwing a bunch of garbage around.
Right.
It was actually, I think we did it at the NAMM show.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Created the set at the NAMM show. I can't remember. But yeah, it was interesting at least. I don't know how well executed it was, but
I thought it was cool. I loved seeing all that stuff, all the gear. Yeah. So I got to ask you a question. Back maybe 2 years ago, there was a video of you in Nashville, and I swore there was a Helix on stage with you. Is that really? Did that happen?
Yes, it did. And unfortunately,
how did that happen?
there's nothing wrong with Helixes in and of themselves, but there is something wrong. I try to use them apparently. So what I was trying to do, which would have worked pretty great if I figured out how to do it properly, was side chain it.
Okay.
And run it just front of house. It could be folded back into monitors as well to augment my regular, analog tube amp backline.
Right.
And that was the idea, was to kind of more mimic the sound of the records, which have a lot of processing and effects and things like that. And that's what the Helix part would do, instead of just all being raw, direct backline. So I really was hoping that would work. And I was hoping the guy out front would get it right, because normally we don't tour with the front of house guy. We just use the front of house person that's working that particular event, or the promoter or whatever, or the venue. Right. So it changes from night to night. So it's hard to have consistency. So we played I'm not sure what was going on out front. So we played a show near Nashville, or in Nashville. It was sort of like a bigger room with other bands. And Mariah and the Baby and Richie came down, and Richie was out front. And I asked him, check it out and tell me what you think. And he goes, well, I could see you playing. I could tell you were playing well, but I couldn't hear anything.
Okay.
In your solos. I go, wait, what? He goes, like, yeah, there was no guitar in the PA at all. I go, what? So to this day, I don't know if he's screwing with me or if he's telling the truth. I mean, I can't imagine that, because on stage I thought it sounded fine.
Right.
Great. So what I'm thinking was that who knows what they were doing out front. Maybe they were just mixing the Helix. They just had the Helix in. They didn't even have the mics on out front. Who knows? I don't know. So I can't risk that anymore. So I pulled the whole experiment. I still have the Helix. I'm using it at home. I'm working on some pre-production for a new record, and coming up with ideas and stuff. And I love messing with it. The problem is I'm an old guy, and this is a deep dive machine. Right. And I need some guidance. And I'm sitting there just going, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just pushing buttons. Okay, turn it off. Okay, start again tomorrow from zero.
That's how you do it, though. That's how you figure it out, except for the fractal. Now I have the fractal, and you better be glad you didn't go down that route first instead.
I can't imagine anything being more difficult than this. This is
no, way worse. Way worse. Yeah, I got it there, but it took a long time.
Well, I'm making myself a kind of a early. What's that thing you do at the New Year's? Resolution. And, to learn this stuff. Yeah. I'm going to learn two things. I'm going to learn how to use these digital devices. Finally, get my head wrapped around it in a rudimentary way, at least. Yeah. And secondly, learn Spanish.
Okay. There you go.
Then I'm going to start singing. My new thing is singing.
Oh, you're going to sing now? I thought you were going to do stand-up comedy.
Excited. You didn't sound excited about that.
No, I was going to say, I just heard you talk about having a stand-up routine too.
I don't have a routine, but I, I am getting booked into this comedy store, which I think is about the funniest thing about it. But it's really, to be honest, they're not hiring me to be a comedian, hiring me to just talk. But they said it's not the band and it's not playing. You can have a guitar there if you want, but just talk. Like we're talking, right?
Yeah.
And that's an evening with George, I guess, whatever.
Yeah. You're pretty funny though. You really are witty and funny in your own way.
Yeah, my own way. Yeah. That's my wife. She doesn't get it. The only way I can make my wife laugh is to hurt myself. She finds that hilarious. If I slip on the ice or wear a up and try to carry a soap upstairs backwards, and eat shit, she'll be in tears. But if I tell a joke, I mean, she'll just look at me like I hit her in the head with a hammer.
So modeling plugins, have you used plugins for like guitar stuff or effects even?
I don't even know what a plugin is.
Like the digital version of Helix inside the box in Pro Tools.
I think I have, yes, very sparingly, but yes. I don't remember which ones, but in my studio in California, I know that we brought it up a lot of times when we want to try to find something
different.
Usually something like in the clean world.
Right.
Something very atmospheric and ethereal, and with all the lush, multiple delays and verbs and all that kind of thing. It's easier to find it in one of those plugins than it is to kind of put all those, Strime and Blue Sky and this and that and put it all together, and it's noisy and try to figure it out and set all the settings. It's much easier to just do it inside in the computer. Engineer with me, that's doing that. It's not me doing it.
Right. So back in the day when you used the H3000, like I think it's the intro on.
We will let she's mine.
Yeah. What was it? What was that? The H3000 on the intro of the part?
The H3000.
Okay. Yeah.
And then of course it just it's unless you can do a deep dive on any of these things, but for me it's just scrolling through all the different presets, and I found a preset that I like. That's all I have to do.
That's a really cool sound, and it kind of there's some of that in this record. There's a little bit of atmospheric type things going on with the instrumental Golden Mirror, and
Golden Mirror, and Seventh Stone, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Sea of Stones, yeah.
Sea of Stones, yeah. I don't know how I did that. I don't remember. I think that was the Blue Sky, Strime and Blue Sky, with a 60 Strat and some kind of Sustainiac, either not a Sustainiac or maybe it was an Evo. I'm not sure. I'd have to consult an engineer to remember how I did that, because I was thinking that would be an amazing song to do live.
Right. Very Sabbath kind of thing.
Yeah, but then just don't end it in chaos like that. Break into a heavy version of that live.
I got you. Cool. I'll ask you about some guitar questions about woods and the early development of the Kamikaze. I have my original one right here. This is a 90. What gave you the idea to make it fluorescent, first of all?
Well, we ran out of regular colors.
You did blue and red. You did desert camo. You did this.
Yeah, that was, I think, the last color variation.
Yeah, then you did the 4, though, with the headstock, the crazy headstock.
Oh, the cheese grater, yeah, which is also fluorescent.
This was maple, though. Why did you choose maple? I mean, you've gone away from maple, right? Or are you still doing maple?
Well, they're back and forth with the woods. I mean, the guitar we were talking about earlier, which the REH guitar, was a maple body with a maple top, a thick maple top. Right. The first Tiger, the original Tiger, I always believed was maple.
Right.
But then subsequent years and investigation, and it was really hard to tell. But then we determined it was a piece of very heavy northern ash.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure either way, even to this day, but we've sort of vacillated between both those woods. over the years. I'm very confident that ash is going to sound better than maple for my purposes most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what's going to happen with these guitars.
Well, it's crazy because, you know, at that time, I was able to get parts, the parts of the Kamikaze, right? I was able to get the body raw. I made this in 91, I think it was. The thing was, I wanted a lighter body, so I went with alder, and I went with a little bit less wide neck with the skull and crossbones. So it was more of a regular guitar for me that I could handle because that's so heavy, right? And but yeah, the Screaming Demon had just come out, so that was the first time that was in one of my guitars. And
I think of the original guitars, I wanted the body to be thicker. I think it was a full 2-inch.
wow,
thick.
yeah,
And then that sort of went away. There was other things that changed too, without really my participation in the evolution of the guitar specs.
mm-hmm.
You know, but I would get my hands on one and I'd see one in a music store or something, or when I'm at ESP, and I would go, wait, this is not my neck. And they would, you know, it would stop being a 45 millimeter width.
Okay.
We go to 44 or something, and then the wood changed and the thickness of the body changed. You know, and it's gone back and forth over the years. So there's been some changes and inconsistencies. I'm not sure why, quite honestly.
So the original Sunburst Tiger you had, you still have that one?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the body wood on that?
You
don't remember? Yeah, I didn't know whether it was maple. I think
either maple or heavy northern ash, but the guitars that I make at MSG now are by default a medium heavy northern ash. I bought a huge lot of that wood because I tried every kind of wood that I could think of, and I settled on that one as the one that works best for the style of guitars that people expect from me and that I like. You know, don't get me wrong, I love an old vintage Alder Strat or a mahogany Les Paul just like everybody else, but that's not what these guitars are. These are built in the San Dimas world, you know, the golden era, Charvel and this and that early ESP, that whole thing, and try to bring all that together into these guitars. And that's the wood. So just make my life simple. I bought a huge lot of that. Now you can't find the wood because of the beetle infestation. Very difficult to get it. And especially the very specific type of ash that I am using. So I fortunately did one thing right in my life. I bought a shit ton of it. So I have many, many, many board feet that will probably outlive me.
Well, one more question, and I'll let you go for the day. I appreciate you hanging out with me and talking again.
Yes, sir.
And you had mentioned woods here. You never did anything with Carina.
Sure, I did. Did a lot with Carina.
Did you do a lot of your custom builds with Carina?
Yeah. I mean, I love the way it looks, and I've even done necks with Black Limbo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have. I would use it somewhat frequently with my when I was carving up my early snake casters and snake hunters.
Okay. Yeah.
Those were because I just loved the way, you know, I was looking for that desert vibe with the snake skin and the bones and all this and that.
Right.
And so that would, I think, really work for that, you know, cosmetically, and they sound great. You know, it's a mahogany.
Yeah. It's a. I've got a few different ones. I've got a V, one of the 80s Vs, the reissue, and it sounds, for what the body is, for the size, and it's in how light it is. It just sounds amazing. Could be the Tim Shaw humbuckers. I mean, those are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, with that kind of setup, with a fixed neck and a mahogany body, and maybe a maple top, maybe not, but either way, you get that old Gibson grunt that you don't get with other guitars. It's just one thing that does that nothing else does, you know.
Right.
And I think that's been sort of the quest for a lot of builders is to, for decades and decades, is to build that holy grail guitar that combines both things, the best of both worlds. You get the Gibson qualities and the Fender qualities and the Charvel qualities, and you put them all together. And that's what I've tried to do with my guitars, with ESP, my signature guitars. I don't know if I succeeded, but again, it's just my attempt at that,
right.
To get that earthy growl, that the Gibsons have, and along with all the sweetness and the other variables of Gibsons, and then the rock, straight ahead, mid range playability of the early Charvel's ESPs,
right?
And put that together in one guitar. It's a daunting task, but sometimes we get it right.
Right. There's so many variations in the neck radiuses and stuff that appeal to me. That's crazy.
Scales, just right off the bat, that's why I thought PRS was interesting, because they kind of, did that unique scale that was right in between Fender and Gibson, which I thought worked.
Right.
But you can't make a guitar that's, I guess you could, you half ash, half mahogany, or third maple, third ash.
You remember the E2 stuff, the Gibson E2s, where they did those composite bodies made out of walnut and all kinds of different woods?
No, I missed that.
That's the early 80s. They did the V2 and E2 were these crazy woods that were walnut and a whole bunch of different things. And it really was stacked bodies. It was really wild, but really heavy stuff. Crazy.
That's interesting. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, check out the E2. They have some have flame maple tops, some are just the different woods put together. It's pretty crazy. The Pants guitar. Whatever happened to the Pants guitar? Since we're talking about Lynch Mob, and that was when you introduced that at Wicked Sensation. So you don't still have it, is what you're telling me?
I don't think so. I've been making those at MSG. But no, I don't think I have the original. No, that was, I don't remember. I think that might have walked away as well.
Yeah, crazy. Well, y'all check out George's new album.
Only one thing that I suggest, if you're ever going to make a guitar out of your pants, wash the pants first. I didn't think of that. I thought of everything else, the neck, the tuners, the pickups, and I forgot to wash the pants.
Well, you made one out of blue velvet. I remember that because I talked to you about it in '91 or whatever after a show. And that's something you had done a cover sheet for Guitar World with the blue pant, not the pants, but the blue velvet guitar. Remember that guitar?
Yeah, I was a big fan of that movie, Blue Velvet, David Lynch film as well.
Right.
And then I was hanging out with Matt at the ESP office, and he was showing me this manuscript of design ideas that he'd received from David Lynch.
Oh, really?
David Lynch submitted this sort of giant, it was like a bunch of papers all bolted together. It would look like it was all written by Fred Flintstone, like left-handed, when he was 8. And it was just like, okay, here's a triangle rock with a neck on it. That's my first design. Here's a square, and here's a circle. It's an ancient wheel, It was like so primitive, but it was amazing, because it was David Lynch, Wow. He just took geometric shapes and hand drew them, and then signed his name. Everything was trademarked, design trademark. Submitting him to ESP for potential guitar designs, models. I think they should have done it because it's David Lynch. It was pretty amazing. Right. So that got me thinking, and I did my Blue Velvet. So again, the star of the movie is Dennis Hopper, and again, I'm doing my records in Dennis Hopper's old home that has this connection there. So up till now, which is pretty cool, but 40 years later, I just went to a fabric shop, bought some Blue Velvet, glued it onto the guitar, wrote some phrases in red lipstick on the Blue Velvet, like "now it's dark" and "what the fuck are you looking at?" And then I found these just little demonstration, non-functioning little oxygen tanks.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Ski shop, or no, a diving shop, and I was able to find out how to get these. So I got one, and then I got a surgical mask with surgical tubing with a little latch that hold it onto edge of the guitar. So then I only did this a couple of times. I'd play a show, and then when the solo came up, I put the mask on and did my Dennis Hopper thing and play the solo like the gas mask was giving me all the idea. Yeah, and then I'd yell at the audience, "What the fuck are you looking at?"
Well, you almost did a 7-string I know about because I played it at the ESP booth back in the day. You had a high A on your 7-string, and it was in the Guitar World, I believe, at one time too. You almost did that.
Not a good idea. Yeah, that's one of my worst ideas. and I believe that guitar also had the
moving pickup.
And the first version of that, well, or not the first, or second version of that, I insisted on having it motorized. But what I didn't realize is the motor would get picked up, the induction or whatever, the noise of the motor would get picked up in the pickups, which would amplify that. So when you push the button for the pickup to move on the rails, it was louder than the guitar.
Oh,
so
wow.
Through the Marshalls, you know, and the motor wasn't powerful enough to really move the pickup very quickly. So it would move very slowly. So you'd be on stage and you go to, okay, you think it would move real fast. I mean, why not just have a pickup selector, you know, whatever. But anyways, this thing had rails on it, and with this little motor, it was all shaky and super loud. And it's like, audience would just be looking at you, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And then the pickup would get to where you want it to be by the end of the solo. And then you'd be like, shit, now you got to have it go back the other way, and that would take another, 27 seconds. It was a failed experiment. Not a good. I had a lot of bad ideas. And a high A, I mean, it would break every time you went to hit it. See, the moving pickup would be taking forever. The pickup kept breaking. I mean, the string, the high A kept breaking.
Right.
I ended up just playing it. I just ended up taking that string off and using it as a 6-string anyways. Well, listen, it's been great.
Thank you, sir.
On your show.
Appreciate it, buddy.
I'll look forward to seeing you in Chattanooga.
Yeah, I'll be there. We'll see you there.
It sounds good. All right.
Thank you, man. Have a good one, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.